I wanted to get some classy looking lights for not too much money. This time we're going to bring the building way up to date with some electricity. As you can probably see, it is a bit dark in here. It's absolutely chucking it down outside. This building needs some electricity and some lights. I did think ahead, of course, where possible, and I have allowed some provision to run an armoured cable to the building. One of these is a pipe for services, so I can run both electric and water into the building. The other is a waste pipe. First job is to get an armoured cable up to there, and then I want to fit a consumer unit on this wall. Obviously, as with any electrical installation, some of it does have to be done by a approved electrician and signed off, etc. However, I'm going to do as much of the initial work myself, and that includes fitting all the conduit and the pipe work. And I have been buying supplies to do at least the lighting installation to start with. So I've got a ton of metal conduit fittings there, saddles, glands, cable, etc. That is the steel wired armoured, the SWA cable to bring the power into the building. I had some pipe left over from the garage, and I bought half a dozen new pipes in the corner there. This stuff here is all things I've had left over from various projects. So let's make a start and get the supply into the building with this cable. The electrician's been in, connected the power up. New consumer unit fitted there. That's the SWA cable coming in. Just a temporary socket there, just so I've got some power in here. Don't have to keep running an extension lead. Next, I am going to probably put this conduit from here upwards, and it's a bit of a weird angle, this one. So I've gone a bit off piece and just done my own kind of angle and bend. Got one of these boxes which actually fits on with an Allen key, because I couldn't actually put a thread on that. So that's the first bit of conduit. This is my old conduit bender. You can clamp the conduit in place with this thing. This is the cutter. You saw me using that to make a thread on the conduit. This is where I got to so far. Just got a plasterboard prop just holding that up in place. Got a junction box thingy there, whatever you call it. Custom bend. Conduit comes up, a right angle there, and I just drilled through the purlin. We'll continue up there, but I think I'm going to go back and just do the connection from the consumer unit to that box. Got this bit of conduit in the bender. Got a measurement. Try and put a right angle bend on here. A simple bit of conduit bent with a 90-degree angle. Put the coupler thing on. Sorry, I don't know the technical names for any of this. That's going to go into the consumer unit there. Comes along there, and I cut it roughly to length just so now I can mark it and get an exact point to cut it there. Obviously I have got levels and everything. I find with this conduit stuff it's just best to eyeball it, because nothing's perfectly straight. You've got one edge of the block work there, wall plate strap there. They're not perfectly together, so yeah, I just try and eyeball it all. So I'm going to cut that off to length and let's get that bit fitted. That's a pretty good fit. I'll leave knocking that out and putting this bit in until I get to do the wiring and I can switch off all the electrics and stuff. I put this box here, obviously just to the left, this wall plate strap, which is going to come down to a light switch. This is the light switch box. I want to push it over a little bit. So this side there's two knockouts. So what I'm going to do is come down here and use that knockout. Got this conduit extended up there. Now I know it doesn't quite follow the slope of the roof, but that, if you remember, is all going to be infilled. Part of the reason I haven't infilled that to now is because I knew there's going to be some electrics running up through there. So that'll all be hidden. And then you can just about see there like a T-junction, and that will shoot off. And I've also got this T-junction here, and I have measured up where the light fittings want to go. This bit is fairly straightforward, and and that'll be for the light fitting. The only awkward bit is when it gets to that overlapping purlin down there. But let's get some easy bits done to start with. I have got a bunch of these clips or saddles to hold up the conduit, but what I'm thinking is to drill a hole in this T-piece and I can just screw that to the wood, and that'll obviously be where the weight of the light's going anyway. I know it's probably not normal, but I don't see an issue with that. I just put a little hole through all of these so they can get fixed straight to the purlin, and there's a little glimpse of what the light fittings are going to look like. They're just conduit type fittings that screw on. It's going to be super simple now just to fix these on. When you're cutting these threads, just want to keep easing it back, just do a little bit at a time. So if you try and force it, you're just going to break something. You can hear all the little bits of metal dropping out. And sometimes it's good just to take the thing all the way off. Just give it a little tap. And you need about 15mm of thread, I've worked out, and I guess it's designed that way, but that's just until the conduit sticks out the back of the die there. This is where I got to so far. This row along here is pretty much done, except for I'm missing a fitting there, the right angle one. And on the high level, it's pretty much all done. I've got that bend around there and all the way up to there. However, that now needs to extend through the wall, so I think next I'm going to drill a hole, 20mm hole, to get the pipe through that wall. Then I can do a drop down, etc. I'll show you in a bit, but let's get that drilled to start with. I was trying to be cute and put this 20mm masonry bit through there, but the conduit just would not go through. Just can't get a nice straight angle, and it was digging into the wood. In the end, I used this big boy hole saw, went through. Might be able to see a bit easier this side. That means the conduit's going to go through there nice and easy. Got the light switch set at 1.2 meters from the ground. I can just take a measurement now and then cut the next conduit to length. And that's this little section done to the lobby entrance area. Going to be a light fitting on this one. Light switch there, one for the lobby area and then one for the main room. Got a saddle there. Fitted some saddle brackets in various locations to hold everything. And that's pretty much the conduit finished. Sorry, I could just hear someone knocking at the door. Wait. Hi. I'm Lawrence, Llandudno Bellend, and I just want to say that this sloping ceiling is completely messing with the feng shui of the building. What you need is some nice level lighting. It's really going to set the place off. Knocked up these 4 pieces of conduit here, threaded at either end. They're like little extension pieces really. The light fittings screw onto there, and that will allow me to screw those into the conduit along the purlin, and that'll bring those upper level lights level with the lower level ones at night time in here. And there's some light bulbs in, obviously it's going to make a bit more sense. Another reason for having level lighting is I'm probably going to have storage from there upwards all across this back wall, and you don't really need the light shining on the storage. With the conduit all done for the lighting, it's now time to pull the wiring cables through. And this isn't a video on how to wire up the lights as such. You should obviously have a qualified electrician when doing any major electrical installations. So I'm not really sure how much of the wiring process I'll film. Might just get some bits and pieces in a montage, and we'll come back and see you in a bit. all the wires are being fed through, and starting at the furthest point, a light fitting will go on there. That's just like a junction or a T-box. There's a switch there, so you're going to have these wires which are for two-way lighting for the main room, and that'll be a switch just for that single light up there. You can see here all the wires poking through everywhere. Obviously it all needs connecting up, and yeah, there's going to be a bit of a junction box happening up there. Another T here. This is the other switch, so this is the other end of the two-way switch wires, and that again is just a single switch for these two lights up here and the consumer unit. And the wiring is done, but I did have an issue. The eagle-eyed amongst you will spot something a bit different. I was trying to be cute, and originally I was using these to connect the light fittings along the runs of conduit, and I've had to go and replace those with the more traditional boxes there. The issue I was having, there was just not enough room to do the connections in these inspection tees. I was hoping that actually I could have brought the wires down and connected them inside these fittings, but there's zero room inside those things. I did have to pull out a few of the wires and just go along and just replace all those with those more traditional boxes. And pleased to say, yeah, the wiring all fits in there. I just want to throw some bulbs in just to test the whole system out. And I've got a load of these vintage bulb things here. So let's throw these in. I mean, they look pretty snazzy. I'm not sure how well they're going to light up the room, but let's chuck these in. Let's give these lights a test. Now this switch just switches these two on here. That works pretty well. So that's just a single way, nice and easy. And these lights are on a two-way switch, so one end is here. Let's see if it's going to work. Ta-da! That looks pretty cool. I just want to check that the two-way switch is working. So on the other end here, we got this switch. Let's just see. Yes, pretty good. And then this one is just for the light up there. Switch it off. Gone a little bit steampunk with that light fitting. Not my first choice, but it was about the cheapest light fitting they had on the website. And I did have to adapt it because it had this kind of backing plate which obviously bolts to a wall but in no way fits on a conduit box, so I just had to buy that 25mm dome, I think they call it, lid there to fit that light fit in. So these lights are like warm lights, and then I've got a couple of like daylight light bulbs there, and you may notice that there's none on this top purlin, and that is because this is going to be a room underneath there. I just haven't built the walls yet. If I'm honest with you, I'm pretty close to running out of money on this project, and I wanted to get some classy looking lights for not too much money. And so as much of this stuff I can do myself, I will do. Obviously it will need inspecting and testing and signing off by a qualified electrician. Another reason for getting this lighting done is all the little finishing jobs in here all require lighting. At the moment I keep bringing portable lights in here, which is a complete pain. So now I can just come in the building, flick a switch and actually see what I'm doing, which is going to be nice. And hopefully you can see with just a few tools, the conduit bender there, this die and a cutting wheel, I think I've created some quite nice looking lighting. I love this industrial look. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea of course. I'd love to know what you all think. Please do comment below. I'm not sure if I'm going to film the rest of the electrics, the sockets, the ring main, etc. But if you are interested in that, again, comment below. If enough people comment on that, I might film it. And the lighting is the last major thing on this building. There's just loads of finishing off stuff to do. All the trim around the windows. I've got work to do on the doors and around the doors, etc. A little bit of work along the bottom edge where the block work meets the floor. I don't want to put a skirt in, but it just needs some kind of finishing. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching. Really appreciate any comments and likes. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and we have merchandise for sale. We ship all around the world. We have these t-shirts, hoodies, and some really cool mugs. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Oh yes, absolutely love what you've done with the place here. Now do me a favour, pour me some more wine. More, up,